Hey, what's up, YouTube? So we're finally to the last part of my 2018 NBA draft recap, where I'm going to be talking about winners and losers from this NBA draft. So getting right into it, starting with the winners. I think the Phoenix Suns were definitely the clear-cut winners from this NBA draft. They got the best player in the draft, DeAndre Ayton, at the number one slot. When you get the best player in any single deal in the NBA, that's usually a huge win for you. And then what they did later in the draft is what really made this draft a really special one, I think, for the Suns, though. They pulled off an absolute heist, I think, with the Philadelphia 76ers moving up from 16 to 10 to select Mikal Bridges, only giving up his first-round pick. That wasn't even theirs, and it's going to be way down the road in 2021. So, even though it's a first-round pick, yeah, it's unprotected. It could very well be a high pick. It's not their first-round pick. And really, when you look at it, Mikal Bridges, he fits in with this core absolutely perfectly. Now, they do need to get a point guard at some point, to kind of build on this foundation. But when you look at this young foundation of players that they have here, they really complement each other very well. And I really like what the Suns are doing here in terms of building up their team for the future. When you look at DeAndre Ayton, he's a guy that can dominate down lows, either a low post threat as a scorer or kind of stepping outside to the perimeter and knocking down outside shots and stretching the defense a bit. Ayton can do a variety of things for you on the offensive side of the ball, as well as the fact that he's a great rebounder, a great athlete, and he's very big and imposing, and he should improve defensively as he kind of matures as an NBA player. And they already have an absolute all-star in terms of Devin Booker, who's already such a stud in terms of just being an absolute killer as an assassin, as a scorer, as a shooter from outside. Booker has it all offensively. I really like that duo there in terms of kind of playing off each other. They're not going to be quite Shaq and Kobe or anything like that, but you can kind of see the similarities there where you got a shooting guard that is absolutely going to light it up offensively, and DeAndre Ayton can do a variety of different things. He's big, athletic. I really like that combination there. But then you look at some of the other young players on this team. Mikal Bridges coming in, being a 3-and-D type of player for this team. Josh Jackson, if he can kind of develop, he showed some flashes during his rookie season. You have two very versatile defenders now on the wing that can play a variety of different positions and guard a variety of different type of players. I really like that there. And then if Marquese Chriss and Dragan Bender can develop into anything serviceable, I think, for this team, that would be a huge win going forward. Obviously, the arrow is pointing up for the Phoenix Suns. I love what they did in this draft overall. And, yeah, the sky's the limit, I think, for the Suns. I think they're set up to be a very, very fun and entertaining and very, very good team in probably 3 to 5 years, maybe sooner than expected, I think, for me. Phoenix Suns absolutely loved what they did. Another winner, I think, for this 2018 NBA draft, the Dallas Mavericks. For one, they got a great deal when they traded up to get Luka Doncic, only giving up a first-round pick. That does have some protections on it, so that way, if they ended up not being a very good team next year in terms of their record and having another top-5 pick, they get to keep the pick. So I think that's a very nice move for them. Like I said, they didn't have to really give up a lot to go get him, and he's a guy that can come in and help them win right away as they try and help Dirk Nowitzki kind of get to the playoffs one last time before he ends up hanging it up. It would be very nice to see Dirk Nowitzki in the playoffs one more time. I think we can all agree on that. But even if that is not the case, they've laid the foundation, I think, with Luka Doncic and Dennis Smith as a very nice duo to kind of build around. And then later in the draft, I really like what they did in the second round. First, getting Jalen Brunson early in the second round to give him a nice option as a backup point guard. I thought Jalen Brunson, I saw him going in the first round of my mock draft. I think he's a very solid player. He's a very safe player. At the very least, he's going to be a capable backup point guard that can help run your offense. And, he's a winner. I hate to use those kind of cliches when evaluating prospects, but everywhere that he's gone in terms of his playing career, he's won. He just plays a very nice style of winning basketball. And I think he's going to be a nice fit with Rick Carlisle, the head coach there, and kind of really they're going to see eye to eye, I think, in terms of the way that they kind of think the game. And I like what they did with the last pick in the draft. They traded with the 76ers to get the last pick in the draft, trading for Kostas Antetokounmpo. If you recognize that name, he's Giannis Antetokounmpo's brother. With the last pick in the draft. So getting another guy with freakish length and athleticism. He's a very raw, and he's not going to be able to contribute for the team right away whatsoever. But in terms of having a project in there that he can work on, maybe put him in the G League for a couple of seasons and just watch him develop, I think it's a very nice project and a very nice chance to take. He could very well turn out to be a very valuable piece for them because his length and athleticism is pretty special. And if you kind of cultivate that, Man, that would just be an absolute home run, I think, for the Dallas Mavericks in terms of their draft. I really like what they did overall, kind of laying the foundation for this team as they've kind of been in this rebuilding phase for a couple of seasons. Now they clearly have a nice direction where they can kind of be kind of like a stepping stone into the future, I think, for this franchise. And then my last major winner is the Orlando Magic. First of all, not having to do anything and getting an absolute steal, getting Mo Bamba at the 6th spot. They've needed a true franchise-changing player for such a long time since they traded away Dwight Howard. And Bamba, in my opinion, he's a top 3 talent in this draft. I only had DeAndre Ayton and Luka Doncic ahead of him in terms of just pure talent as a prospect. He might have the highest upside in the draft, too, because he's just got freakish length, athleticism, and the skill set where he can step outside and shoot the ball a little bit. I just absolutely love that pick for the Magic. And he can join Shaq, and Dwight Howard is kind of joining that legacy for the Magic, where they just had a lot of great big guys to kind of build their franchise. When they have been at their best as a franchise, they've always had a nice, dominant, big man presence. And Bamba, he's a different type of player than those two, where he's not, as bulked and as physical as those two players. His length and athleticism is really going to be a game-changing asset, I think, for the Magic going forward into the future. And when you look at their draft, he was not the only long and athletic prospect that they got. In the second round, they got guys like Melvin Frazier and Justin Jackson, two guys that, while they may not be, huge players or huge pieces for this team going forward, they're two long athletic prospects that can really be nice on the defensive side of the floor. And when you look at this team as a whole, now they've have a lot of different types of players, a lot of different long athletic players. We look at Aaron Gordon, Jonathan Isaac, guys that can really get out there and defend and really create a lot of havoc in the passing lanes and just get out and run in transition. They can do a variety of different things on the court. And I feel like there's potential to be very, very dominant defensively, kind of filling in the role that the Milwaukee Bucks have been doing the past couple of seasons, where they've looked for as many long and athletic prospects as possible. The Magics are kind of following that similar type of building path in terms of building their franchise. But for me, the biggest win for them was just getting a guy like Mo Bamba at 6 and really not having to do anything. To me, that's an absolute steal for the Magic. Some honorable mentions for me, some really nice picks that I think will really turn out very well for these franchises. The Celtics, they got an absolute steal getting Robert Williams at 27. Are you kidding me? There are some questions about his motor and his willingness to work in his craft and how much he really loves the game and whatnot. But Robert Williams is a straight up, he's a lottery talent. And to get a lottery talent at the 27th spot late in the first round, Danny Ainge, he's got to be having that smirk on his face for the next couple of days, because he might have just gotten a huge steal, I think, for the Celtics. And he feels an immediate need with a backup center. They need a backup center that can be athletic, can bang on the glass, can block some shots, get athletic, move in transition, just do a variety of different things there. That might be a huge steal for the Celtics. I really like Lonnie Walker going to the Spurs. I feel like that could potentially be a star type of move for the Spurs there, because even though Lonnie Walker, he's not your prototypical Spurs type of pick, I think, I can't imagine with a couple of years of development, he might be a star, I think. He's got all the physical tools and attributes that you want from a great shooting guard in today's modern-day NBA. Lonnie Walker to the Spurs might be an absolute steal, very similar to maybe what Donovan Mitchell was for the Utah Jazz last season. And then another team, the Bucks, getting Dante DiVincenzo at 17 is a very nice pick for them. DiVincenzo, I thought he might have lottery talent. Personally, he came on very late in the year, but you can see when you watch this guy play that he's just a very, very nice player overall. I really like the Bucks kind of bringing him in there. They needed another guard, another ball handler, another scorer to kind of complement Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton. And Dante DiVincenzo, he's tough. He can do a variety of different things on the court. I really like what the Bucks did, getting Dante DiVincenzo at 17. That's a very good value pick for them. And now moving on to losers. The biggest loser for me is the Philadelphia 76ers. They had the perfect player right there, Mikal Bridges. He was perfect for their team. He was right in their backyard playing in Villanova. And they traded him away for a guy like Zaire Smith, who, yes, he's athletic. He's got some upside, but man, that's just it makes no sense to me. This team should be trying to build their core to win now, and it just seems like they're just kind of delaying that process and just kind of dragging it out. I don't know. Zaire Smith, I would rather have a sure thing in Mikal Bridges than a guy like Zaire Smith, who he is a bit of a project. I just don't know about that. That didn't make much sense to me. And then with the 26th pick in the NBA draft and late in the first round, They got a nice safe pick in Landry Shamet from Wichita State, who he's a nice player. I'll give him that. He's a very nice shooter, which they do need. They do need some shooting to complement Ben Simmons off the bench. But he was a bit overdrafted in my eyes. I saw him nothing more than an early to mid-second round pick and a really wasted first-round pick on them. I don't know about that. I just didn't like that. And in terms of the second-round picks, they had a lot of second-round picks in this NBA draft, and they traded away pretty much all of them, I think, for future assets. It just feels like the 76ers, if they're not trying to package a deal to get Kawhi Leonard, I feel like they should have making these moves to kind of win now and try and bring in some guys that can help them out right now and kind of win in the Eastern Conference because it's wide open right now. The Celtics, yes, they're probably the top dog right there, and if LeBron does stay in Cleveland, yes, they would probably be two teams that you're going to have to contend with, but other than that, I think it's wide open in the Eastern Conference right now. And instead, it kind of feels like they're just kind of trying to stash assets for the future and trying to kind of, have their cake and eat it too, in a sense. Yeah, I just feel like I don't like the 76ers data overall. It was just very questionable, I think. Obviously, the Mikal Bridges trade just made no sense to me. Not a fan. Moving on to the Los Angeles Clippers, they were another loser for me. I thought they had a chance to really make some noise with 2 picks in the lottery at 12 and 13. Now, they trade up one spot from 12 to 11 with the Charlotte Hornets to pick Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I thought that was kind of unnecessary because I'm not sure the Hornets or some of the other teams in that kind of area were really even interested in kind of picking him there anyway. I feel like they could have waited for him at 12 to pick him. They ended up only giving him 2 second-round picks, so in the end, it's really not that big of a deal, but it still would have been nice to have as much assets as possible that they could have used down the line because they are in rebuild mode. And, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's a very nice player. They needed a point guard, so I'm not knocking the pick at all, but I just felt like that was kind of unnecessary. And then with the 13th pick, personally, even though, they got a nice player there in Robinson, who's going to be pretty solid, I think, for them overall. He's a nice scorer at the shooting guard spot. Personally, Michael Porter was right there for the taking at 13. I think late in the lottery like that, if you're the Clippers, you already got your guy in Gilgeous-Alexander, who I think will be a safe prospect for you. Why not swing for the fences there and try and go for a guy that could be a potential superstar for your team? If you're the Clippers, man, you haven't had a superstar really that you've drafted ever. Maybe, not even Elton Brand. He was drafted by the Chicago Bulls. They haven't had a superstar that they've ever drafted. They've always had to trade for a guy. They traded for Chris Paul, maybe Blake Griffin, but he wasn't really he wasn't a superstar. He was an all-star, not a superstar. Michael Porter Jr., yes, there are a lot of risks there, like I kind of detailed in my previous videos, but man, he's got some serious upside. They could have really taken a chance there. I don't know. I would have done things a little bit differently if I were the Clippers in this sense. Even maybe trading up to a spot earlier in the lottery, maybe with the 12th, 13th pick. There was just a lot of different directions they could have gone, and we'll see how it works out. I'm not gonna really knock Jerry West. He's a legend. He's one of the best in the business in terms of running an NBA franchise, but I don't know. There are a few things I would have done a little bit differently for the Clippers. They really could have hit a home run. Instead, I kind of feel like they kind of hit like a solid single and a solid double here and there. So that's kind of my thinking for the Clippers. And then my last major loser was the Portland Trail Blazers. It really comes down to this. Man, how many freaking guards do you need? Seriously, how many guards do you want on your roster right now? Because you already have Damian Lillard, you already have CJ McCollum, you already have Shabazz Napier, and then with the 24th pick in the first round, you could use some wing depth. You could maybe get a defensive point guard. Maybe that would be a nice pick for you. Get some backup depth along the big man behind Nurkic there. No, let's go for Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons, a huge prospect, a huge project, I should say, coming out of high school even, which I don't know. He's 6'6", so he doesn't fit the mold of the undersized guard. And then they went right back to that in the second round, trading for Gary Trent Jr. out of Duke in the second round, who's another undersized guard who doesn't play any defense, and he can shoot from the outside. He can score. So he can play right away, but he just does what every single Portland Trailblazers guard on the roster already does. Shoot well, score well, no defense. And we saw against the New Orleans Pelicans that they can't guard anybody. They can't guard the opposing team's best players on the perimeter. Jrue Holiday and Rajon Rondo, of all people, were taking them to task every single game. They have nobody that can defend at the point guard or shooting guard position. They should have been focused on that. Instead, they get a project in Anthony Simons, who probably won't be doing anything for the next 3 or 4 years as he develops because he's coming out of high school and hasn't played a lick of college basketball. whatsoever. And Gary Trent Jr., who hasn't played a lick of defense his entire playing career, didn't play it at Duke. They had to switch to a 2-3 defense because he was incapable of playing defense in a man-to-man situation. He's just not capable of doing it. And that also doesn't mention the fact that they had the chance to get a guy like Robert Williams, who provided a nice backup center for them, a nice athletic rim protecting presence for their team, which they desperately need at the backup center position, or maybe some wing depth. There are a lot of guys that they could have gotten that could have really helped be another 3-and-D guy on the wing for them. And instead, they just keep on, stockpiling all these guards, and I just don't get it. It just makes no sense to me. If it was maybe a more defensive-minded guard, like I had in their mock draft, it would have made sense. I could have seen that coming because they do need someone at the backup point guard position that can guard the other team's opposing best point guard. But, oh, my God, it's just frustrating. They keep on doing the same mistakes. They're going nowhere, I feel like. It just makes no sense to me. But moving on, one more loser, I think, for this draft, and maybe not a major loser. I have to mention the New York Knicks here. The Knicks fans, in classic fashion, they booed their selection of Kevin Knox at the number 9 selection. And for once, I actually agree with them. I didn't agree with them when they booed Kristaps Porzingis because I thought the guy was going to be an absolute stud, and I've been proven right with that. But Knox was a bit of a reach for me. It's not that I don't think he will be a nice player or anything like that, but I just felt like there were better prospects on the board, such as guys like Mikal Bridges, Lonnie Walker, Gilgeous-Alexander, and even Michael Porter Jr. I feel like the Knicks, they could have maybe taken a chance on him. Kevin Knox, he can be a nice scorer in the league, but he's not going to be an elite player or anything like that. And the Knicks, they could have gone a different direction here. So those are my winners and losers for this 2018 NBA draft. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe for more videos such as this. And, man, the NBA draft, we're kind of past that now. Now we're kind of transitioning to NBA free agency and the summer league. It's going to be quite interesting to see how this all plays out in the NBA offseason. But thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks, guys.